All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So this is a viewer request video. We're looking at Nikola, FFIE, BLNK, and IDEX, okay? Look, Nikola has been in a little bit of a rough place, right? And you know my rules, right? Good things happen over the 8 and the 20. I mean, we see a month and a half, almost 2 months of that to say the least, right? Bad things do happen under the 8 and the 20, okay? And don't forget, it wasn't that long ago that this thing was literally living under the 8 and the 20, right? Living. I can keep zooming, like this is probably, I hope this is when they're, yeah. Like since this run, all it's really done is lived under the 8 and the 20, right? So, hey, we, knock on wood, caught most of this. I hope you did. I really, really do. You know what I mean? But as much as this sucks, don't take away from what this thing did. You know what I mean? So that's at least what I'm going to try to do. And, you know, the last 2 days, this is something I talk about all the time. And there was a little extra comment I gave to someone, but I always say it. Doji, the day after, tells the truth. That's not the truth people wanted, but you know what I mean? So we'll talk about the doji and day after as we get a little deeper. FFIE, if I'm not mistaken, does not look that good. IDEX, bad earnings reaction. IDEX was having a really good technical setup, right? But I always say it, earnings is a big gamble, and I think IDEX is where we'll talk about it a lot. And truth be told, BLNK is the opposite, and BLNK actually is the one shining gem in this video right here. So there's a lot of reason to want to look at BLNK tomorrow, in my opinion. But before we go any further and I give you more of my opinions, what are we going to do today? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please subscribe to the channel, share this video all over the internet, comment good or bad. Look, anything you can do helps me out so much, but I swear, just being here and giving me your time is beyond appreciated, all right? Again, if you can actually share it, it's the best thing you can do for me because I'm not the best at it, but for real, just thank you again, all right? So look, let's look at Nikola, and there are a few things I really like. I can't decide what I want to start with, but I think the first thing I gotta show is the NASDAQ Composite Index, all right? No tech stock will do good when NASDAQ does bad. All right, I probably could have said that a little more sophisticated, right? But like, if NASDAQ's doing poorly, most tech stocks are going to do poorly. And I know I just said all, and obviously there's going to be that one shining light that, like, you know, while this is bad, those are good. But, you know, NASDAQ, I've been saying for the last few, I want to say for the last 2 weeks maybe, right? Like, I basically this, you can, you know, the last 2 weeks. Once good things happen over the 8 and the 20. I don't care if I'm looking at a penny stock, a blue chip $500 thing, or an index that's $13,000 plus a share, right? Good things happen over the 8, bad things happen under it. And I was saying for, like I said, a couple weeks, I'm pretty sure we're going to come to the 50 moving average. Okay, the RSI up here was in the 80s, high 80s actually, 85, 84, 83. You can see the numbers changing in the box over there, all right? That's actually a little ridiculous for an index. So the fact that it came all the way down to a healthy 30, that's beautiful. That's textbook. Now that we're down to 30, now that we're at the 50 moving average, this better recover. All right, because let's be honest, that's not a good MACD. That's actually still diverging. Again, diverging, just a fancy word for the 2 lines going away from each other. We want it to diverge the other way. Green is good, red is bad, right? So this is diverging the wrong way, but hopefully the RSI can help pick it up. And hey, volume's been bad. Each of these days, volume has basically been above the 50-day average, and you can tell there's been more dumping than buying, right? So the worst thing that can happen, you know, I don't want to lower this line because this is obviously where my line is, right? And dude, did we wick it today? Get out of here. Look at that. The low was 13,698. My number is 13,690. Again, you know I'm not here to kind of like brag about my lines, but you know, knock on wood, I'm pretty good at these lines, all right? we don't want to lose this horizontal plateau. All right, basically you can see this line is bottom of this, bottom of this, top of this, roughly 50% of this, not really exactly, but man, if we, you know the rules, right? Break this, go to this, break this, go to this, lose this, we might be going the wrong way to, like, if we lose this, the next place, like, it's going to technically want to go is down here. This is where I would start to get a little scared. I think we're going to hold this. All right. Maybe I'm a little too optimistic. Maybe, look, I'm going to draw this just as a just in case. And look at that. That 50% was the top of this. And I'm going to color this one just so I remember that this was like a funky one. What's a good color? Can I make, I don't want to mess up the, what's not a moving average color? Gray. Oh no, we can't even see it. That was dumb. Sorry. That looks exactly the same. I'm so sorry, team. I should have practiced this. Yellow. Yellow. Let's put the yellow line right there. Okay. Okay. If NASDAQ loses the 50, hopefully this is the lowest it goes, basically 13.5. Why am I talking so much about this, even though that this is a Nikola video? Listen, this is going to do poorly as long as NASDAQ does poorly. This is on the 200, right? The biggest of the lines, right? NASDAQ, again, I'm just going back and forth. I promise you it's worth it. But this to me is the equivalent of Nikola being on the 200. And they're either going to both bounce up and hold, or they're both going to go down. And this ride down, in a lot of ways, as I just saw it, might actually line up with this ride down. It actually seems like we're going to come to 133 here. Maybe 162 is going to hold. But again, I think Nikola does nothing more than what the NASDAQ does. Okay, so that was way longer than I wanted to talk about just one thing of all the stuff on this chart. All right, here's number two. Okay, look, the way I live and die is the moving averages and the indicators, right? Like I'm as pure as a technical analysis trader can be, in my opinion. Other ways people trade is actually just by the shapes of these candles. All right, I don't do that. All right, I don't know the names of a lot, dude. There are so many names. There are actually names for like 2 in a row if they do a specific thing. Like candle pattern trading is a thing. The only one I legit care about is this. This is a doji, and this is as textbook as it gets. I call this a doji as well. I do, all right? What is it? It's a wick up, a relatively equal wick down, basically end right in the middle. Basically this one too, goes up, goes down, ends in the middle. And this is nothing more than complete uncertainty. Some people right here were like, oh, we're about to break the 20 and 8 and keep flying. Some people right here were like, no, we're coming to the 200 and then worse. They all decided, you know what, F it. Let's just wait till tomorrow. And then tomorrow does this. Or it could have very easily done the opposite and given us like another 12% up, right? But the day after tells the truth. By that, I also mean it's going to continue down. Like, I think this is for sure where it's going to go. Nothing's for sure, right? But yeah, 162 is not going to surprise me at all. What I'm curious about is this going to come down to 144 or even worse, 132? The worst thing would be losing 132 because, again, above all 5 and fly, below all 5 and die. We better not lose all 5 moving averages on Nikola, all right? But again, day after the doji was really bad, that makes me believe tomorrow's going to be really bad too, you know what I mean? So RSI is still at 43. This can go a lot lower before we need to see recovery, all right? So I almost feel like 144 is actually where this is going to go. But overall, there's not a lot to like here. But I just kind of want to go back to how I started the video. This thing made a lot of money. And hopefully you rode most, if not all of it. Even a little bit of it would have made you some good money. You know what I mean? So hopefully you made some, you banked some. You're just watching this go down and you're ready to come back up. All right? So overall, I've been saying the NASDAQ's going to be shaky. And I think you can see Nikola really reflecting that. So I'll flash the weekly real quick, and look, I think in a lot of ways, even if I didn't show the NASDAQ, like this is a lot about the 50 moving average on the weekly. Tries to break it here, couldn't. that doesn't count, couldn't, right? And we're actually dancing with losing the 8 and potentially coming as low as 131, which what lines up with that 133 number, right? So I think we're coming down to 133. For real, we can't lose that. Oh my gosh, lose all 5 and die, especially here, because it's essentially green, 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 red, 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 right? So be careful. Yeah, be careful. There's way more reasons to be scared here than excited, okay? Next one I wanted to flash was FFIE. Okay, what are we looking at here? So there was a question yesterday, and honestly, I have not covered this stock in a while, right? But if you remember, all I've been talking about was this 100 moving average, right? And it actually looked like we were breaking out of it. But you've heard me say it on so many different videos. When you get a cluster of 4 lines, look, when you get just 3, I call it a cluster. When you get 4 or more, and this one's definitely 4, it's hard to escape this, all right? I often call it a tornado. You get thrown to the top, thrown to the bottom, thrown to the top, sucked right back into the bottom, right? Like, and I always show these ones, right? Look, Palantir, stuck in it, flying up, sucked back in, up, down, right? Like until you break and go, you're stuck. The other one, the opposite reaction is up here. It was just going and going, and you can see all 5 lines actually start getting super tight before it falls off, right? So I'm not a fan of these 3-line or 4-line clusters, okay? So it was looking promising, but end of the day, we did nothing more than fall back into the cluster, okay? I'm happy to see that this is at least going up, right? Most of the time it goes super horizontal, and hey, maybe that's what's starting as of the 17th, right? Maybe the 17th was the point of, all right, we're going actually horizontal on the cluster, but at least going from the beginning, you know, even from here, right, we are actually still relatively uptrending. But end of the day, look, we are on the wrong side of all 5 lines, let alone on the wrong side of this cluster of 4. I don't like being close to the bottom, right? I want to stay at least at the middle, let alone the top, and hopefully breaking out like this, right? So you know, this is nothing more than a horizontal cluster trade. And if you go back, we haven't even seen a lot of these in a while. I feel like I haven't like said that phrase in a minute, but these are hard. They really are like a tornado, because I'm telling you, it looks like you're gone, suck back in. Looks like you're gone. And dude, that's a good break. That's a doji. That's not a bad candle the day after. That's not a bad candle the day after either. Like, this would have faked me out if I was looking here. Again, maybe I would have bowed down to the cluster, because yeah, I know these and I hate these and I'm very, very loud about these. But yeah, just at the baseline minimum, I would have been really excited. I would have been like, oh my God, we're running up here, right? Like if you watch my videos, that's kind of how I talk too, right? But yeah, it's I think a big story, the cluster, and then man, look at this weekly. I think the weekly also says nothing good happens until you're over these 2 lines. When you're under it, and that's really where this thing has been, right? So yeah, FFIE. This one's struggling more than ideal, and again, at this point, I'm seeing more than anything, I'm seeing horizontal trading since the 17th. On top of being on the bottom of all the things, I think there's better places to look, and really the next one that we're going to talk about should be a better place to look. BLNK. Blink. All right, I'm actually curious what this is doing after hours. I do want to know. All right, we came down, but insignificantly. Okay, Blink. Gaps up. Breaks 1, 2, 3 moving averages. Actually, for a minute, wicks above the 100 as well, right? So today was an important day, all right? As I'm looking at it, I mean, this 100's been no joke. It actually really, since here, the 100's been an issue. Yes, I see that. Yes, I see that. That's nothing. Yes, I see that. Aside from these 3 moments, since losing it right here in 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago even, right? That blue line has been really, really, really hard to beat, okay? What I like about today, I think today was an earnings day. It was either an earnings day or a big announcement. Actually, hey, we have a Discord. Go to my social media video, click in it. Blink came up early in the day. I want to say Blink was only at like 8, maybe 7% when I saw it, and I was not awake at market bell. You know what I mean? So they were talking about this one early, but there is a lot to like, all right? Most of the time I kind of talk about a pump and dump volume because, yeah, that's kind of big, right? But in a lot of ways, it's actually not even really, right? Okay, I was hoping this was a little closer to 3 million, but look, this is a 4x volume. I'm just kind of rounding, right? 2 to 8. I think once it's like a 40x or like a 14x volume, hey, I think that's where it gets a little pump and dumpy, but I like Blink. I also like that post-market. Oh, nice. It's going back up now. Like I said, I thought it was an insignificant down when I had seen it, right? But I think there are really good reasons to believe Blink is actually going to break this 100 and go on all the way up to hopefully this, right? Let me draw some lines real quick. This is clearly something. Yeah, we'll take that one. Why not? That's not a bad line. I think we're here right now. Oh, we're not just yet, but I will draw that. Yeah, we're just under that. Break these two, and yeah, red. Hopefully green, all the way up. I wouldn't even draw the line right here, right? But even if I was going to draw the line right here, that's still over this. So 765 is essentially the money line to get us here, all right? And man, in a lot of ways, this did not break it today, right? Okay, look, this is on the line. I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to show you the box over there. We closed this 868. That's the number in green on top. That is also the number that you see, average 100. We're on the line. On the line does not mean breaking it and being over it. On the line is knocking on the door, but no one's answering. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're standing on the welcome mat. The door is just still locked, right? So tomorrow I need 2 days, right? I need to break it and confirm. That is what I need here. But one more time, I like Blink. I want to get to the 70 something. This is still a pretty good healthy 61. And ooh, what do I see? How high was this? 78. All right, I was hoping that was higher. What were you? 83. Okay, you've hit the 80s. Not that many times though. Not that many times. Okay, keep that in mind. It's not one to get very high on the RSI, so it might hit the 80s, but then it's gonna, cool down at the minimum. I'm not gonna say dump, but yes, that's a golden cross. I definitely need a little bit more. I care way more about the 100 breaking and getting to these lines. Blink, I think there's a lot to like here, all right? This is a good weekly. This is also saying we want to get above that $10 line. And if you remember, that is where I would have drawn, not even this, right? But yeah, that's the $10 number I remember seeing. Again, please don't have $10 dreams on a $7 stock. That's still a healthy ways up. But yeah, add one more dollar here. That's I'm not going to do the math in my head, but a seventh ain't bad, I'll tell you that. And then from there, that's really the juicy that we're looking for, right? Basically 950, give or take. But I like Blink. I do like Blink a lot. I think it's real important to see how that one does tomorrow, all right? Moving on to IDEX. Man, I actually thought this was doing even better than this. This actually never did. Look. Oh man, I'm like gathering my thoughts as I look at this. All right, this is a rough one, and I know a lot of people are on the very passionate side of this one, right? But man, once it lost the 100 moving average this day, this 17 yesterday, and then another 14 to like. These two would have been avoided. And look, you hear, I literally said it a few times today. Green. Red. And I'm even going to draw the line just so you see it, right? Like literally, boom. Like that's what happens. The goal is to ride this one, obviously, right? But, man, this one's rough. This one is rough. This is a really hard line right here. This definitely can't get lost. And in all honesty, this one would be the next one. And then yeah, man, this is a tough chart This is a tough chart. I don't know what people are doing here. I know a lot of people were talking about holding a lot of shares. Look, this is why I say I live and die by the lines, right? Just right here alone, you lose both the 8 and the 20 and the 50. This was a dangerously scary candle. I don't know if the earnings was on this day and that was the reaction and that was the after, but once you want, like I kept saying, the whole story was this thing, right? I even talked about the like intercepting oscillation on the 20. Oh man, just it literally never got over that 11 line either. This one's sad. This one's just sad. But I'm telling you, I think this is a good example of why I live and die by the colorful lines here. You know what I mean? And look, MACD, I know this says 0. No, I see the green slipping under the dashes. Like this is a negative number to me. And yeah, I know 24 seems like a really, really low RSI. We literally have been at single digits, oh my gosh, for like days on end. 9, 9, 9, 4, 4, 2 days of 4, sweet Jesus. So be careful here, all right? You know I'm not here to tell you what to do with your money. I'm not here to like fear and any of that nonsense, but yeah, be real careful here, all right? So appreciate your time. Let me know your thoughts. Otherwise, as always, thank you, thank you.